Is it on now?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, now I had to have two crew members here. Thanks, Chris. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Drew.
Have a good one.
Took me two crew members to get this going this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is going to be another long video. Got a lot of questions here. You know, sometimes we get people like this, and Rick Campbell, you sent me this about your wife. You're disappointed because I didn't get back to her questions fast enough. You know, my friend, I tell you all that if you are in need and you're hurting, that you can call this clinic. I don't think you're going to find too many clinics around the world that's going to give you free advice and help you like this. So to write me something like this is really, you probably need to go out and meditate a little bit. I understand if your wife's hurting, we have millions of hurting people. So bad it's not even funny. And my heart goes out to your wife and everybody else. I love you all. But don't send me stuff like this. You call this clinic. If you're hurting real bad, you call this clinic. We're God people. We're here to help you. We don't charge for this free information. You can call the clinic and talk to the staff. We don't charge you. So, and not nice to write something like this to me. And as far as your wife, sweetheart, if you're hurting, we'll help you. Call. I am so busy, it's not even funny, and I'm just one man. And we have a small clinic. And we're very busy. And so we have people all around the world hurting. So I apologize, but it's on my videos. Call our clinic, and we'll help you, because it takes an hour to download each 10-minute segment. And my staff's very busy out there. And so I don't have the money. I'm not rich. I'm not like a medical doctor. I drive a truck. So I try real hard to be able to financially afford things, because we have a lot of people that we actually have to pay for. And so it keeps us living week to week like all of you guys. So this idea somehow that we're magically making a lot of money and we can staff and have all kinds of things just doesn't exist here. So we're sorry that you had to feel that bad to write this. We do everything we can to help for free. I don't know what else we can do. So if you're hurting really bad, any of you guys, you call here. Most of you that called here found our staff to be quite nice, and we're here to help you immediately, as much as we can. I mean, we see people literally from every country there is out there. So, and we have a very small clinic, so we're all pretty ratted out at the end of the day. So we really, I love you guys, and I'm sorry for your wife. Call in, please. Be happy to help you, It's just difficult. This video you're seeing today probably won't be on for a couple of days, although Chris is caught up now. But I had several videos shot that he couldn't even get to yet. So please, if you're hurting, call the clinic. We don't charge you, All right, so enough of the gruesome stuff. Let's get on with the questions, because you guys are doing so well. I'm real proud of you all. And we don't want anybody to hurt. Suffering is one of the things that I can't tolerate. Moving from one body to another body, we like to be a way station here. And if you're going to translate or leave from this world, well, glad to help you there too. Plenty of action beyond this little physical planet. So a lot to the God worlds. And so one should always be excited, when you see plants and animals translate, they're excited. Humans go with fear, and I guess because they're not trained adequately, or they've lost their inner sense of God, and so then they fear these things that are very natural processes, So, but if you want to stay, you've got to get your physical body healthy, and we've been talking a lot about that through all these couple of months, and we've only been on the air for a couple of months here, and so I think we've done pretty well. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but we're really trying. I love what you guys said. The Lion Man, there was another guy here too, really pulled it home on that 11:11. Interesting stuff. I mean, I think it's the God numbers for sure. And, it's just, I love, I feel that we're all bonding. So, Rick Campbell, bond with us. Don't fight us. We're here to help you, my friend. Not here to be, to not do that. It's just have to understand, have some understanding in your heart of what we're all up against. This is tough. This is a battle. Someone made a comment here about I was looking out of shape. This old farm boy ain't out of shape. Might be a little overweight. I remember there was a comment here I thought was a good one. How do you know when someone's too thin? I guess when you hug them and you can feel their bones. I don't know. I worked out a lot in my life. I've worked outside quite a bit. I'm always working in the gardens and building fences, and I'm a carpenter. I used to build custom homes for a living just to be able to survive, because years ago it's a struggle doing this. But, interesting, I don't want to bore you, but, when I came out of the being a hermit in the woods as a fruitarian, I thought, I ran out of money, and I thought, well, how can I help people, And so I said, well, open up a health food store. So I got my grandfather to loan me some money, and I opened up a health food store, and I was really busy, and I had a little mill to make whole grain flours and stuff, and I had raw milk cheeses and raw milk, and I had goat's milk ice creams, and I had all kinds of stuff. Well, that's not raw, and I didn't know at the time, I'm young, and I thought, well, this will be a good service. I had honey from everything you can imagine, from grapefruit honey to orange honey to you name it. And I had the high school students coming in and painting the walls, and I had a really cool looking health food store. I thought I had a book section to die for. I had a whole room dedicated to spiritual and raw books because you couldn't find them anywhere. So I searched the world over and found them, and but I started tasting this and tasting that, and I started gaining weight and not feeling good. And then this famous importer-exporter of bells, Sarna Bells, very wealthy man in Sarasota, opened up a gourmet Indian restaurant in the whole bottom of the old Ringling Brothers hotel. And he came to me and he said, look, I want organic beans. I thought, okay, I'll sell them to you wholesale. What is Indian food? Well, I shouldn't have said that, because when I went down, he said, come down, this is gourmet Indian food. He had chefs and a big window and the clay urns, and I'm not a meat eater. So I said, well, I don't eat meat, but she said, well, there's plenty of vegetarian things. So, but it was cooked, and it must have been a past incarnation, because, man, I couldn't get enough of that Indian food. I didn't like it hot, and hot things hurt me. But I tell you, the spices, it was like a past life experience. My body hated it. I was in so much pain and suffering, and then things got busy, and then I traveled the world, and so hard to keep in shape when you're extremely busy, you're burning the candle, and then some colonel in the military told me that the IRS had been misapplying the tax laws. And so then two senators told me, and then the State Attorney General's office of Florida told the world, and then books after books, and so I'm learning the law, and I'm fighting the IRS. You talk about stressful. Man, the criminals, they've gotten so criminal, they're land grabbing, and they're stealing from people, and they have no law to back them up. And then the judges, they've corrupt these federal judges to where you can't even take the law. The Supreme Court has backed the proper law here, but you can't get judges to acknowledge that anymore because there's so much corruption. So that's a big stressor, I'm telling you. And so I'm sorry, all these things take a toll on a person. And so this is why I don't judge any of you, and I appreciate it if you don't judge me too much. I'm a soul just trying to get this message of health and wellness out to the world. And so this is why I don't judge any of you, and I appreciate it if you don't judge me too much. I'm a soul just trying to get this message of health and wellness out to the world, and you all pump me up and help me, and that's good, because I've been 15 years in a major fight to free all you guys up from suppression of this federal government, and I do it for you because I don't care about myself, but this stealing a third of people's money when you have no law to back you has got to stop. So enough of the crap. Now, let's get into some of these great questions, because you guys are so good. I love it, and you guys are just doing really well here. This guy asked me about TMJ and teeth grinding and insomnia. Now, let's think about this, because I want you guys to help me. Because one guy asked me, what can I do? Where can I go to become a healer? And we're going to talk a little bit about that here coming up, because that's what I'm grooming you all for. You know, I want you all, those that feel that inner need to give, to go out and help others. Set yourself up a practice of helping people. You know, and so this is why we're going to be like private eyes. I'm going to take you through the body and get you used to correlating different parts of your body. So as we talk about the adrenal glands and we talk about the thyroids and parathyroids, I'm going to keep it simple. The body only has a limited amount of parts to it. And we're going to be discussing those as much as we can here. Not going to be an in-depth anatomy and physiology class, because not needed. And at a certain point, science loses its knowledge of truth. And so at some point, this knowledge isn't even true. So keeping it simple keeps truth simple, and everything works better. So this is why it's important, I think, that we all keep it simple. And you don't need to have a major degree to help people get well. I find that atrocious that we have to think about going to naturopathic school, or we have to go to medical school, and these guys can't cure too much. And yet in 5 days, I can teach every one of you how to cure everything. And not in that we're curing diseases, we're bringing the body back into a state of health, and the body means the cells, and we're doing it through the two fluids that control the health of the cells. It's that simple. And there's nothing complex about it. This is the interesting thing. Look at our economy and what's going on with the medical profession, the sucking dry of the human. Between the IRS and the medical community, they're sucking the wealth out of people, sucking them dry, impoverishing people. And both of them haven't got a leg to stand on. So, you know, it's like, oh. But, you know, we just learn and we keep going, you know, and, you know, let the God force come in. There's a karma coming, and if people only knew karma was so exacting, you wouldn't hurt another person. You wouldn't hurt anything, really. I mean, you'd understand that karma, it has a tail like a dragon. Whip your butt. So, TMJ and the grinding of the teeth, the cracking of the jawbone, and the insomnia. Now, insomnia, we're going up here to the pineal gland. The pineal gland produces melatonin, and you see a lot of people buying that. And it's a gland called the third eye, or the spiritual eye here, but it's the gland of rest and peace, etc., etc. However, when we notice that it's irritated, you know, then one doesn't rest well. And what irritates tissue? Acids. There's only two sides to chemistry always. So how easy is that? So now we're down to, you know, the jawbone, we're down to the teeth grinding, and I think you're going to find a parathyroid problem there, my friend, where you're not utilizing calcium problem, you're losing calcium in your joints and stuff, and they're popping on you, can't hold it in place right, it can get real bad. But I think if you look at more symptoms through your body, you'd probably pick that up. That means you're not draining your sinuses or your head well lymphatically. Now, we know the kidneys control the lymph drainage of the body, and the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys control the kidneys. We also know, though, that the transverse colon has a role in this drainage as well. Don't ask me how, but I can only tell you through Jensen's work and N.W. Walker and our work here. I've seen this all over and over again. So a lot of people will have a bowel movement in the morning and their nose will start running. And they're stopped up or backed up in the bowels, their nose, you know, they back up all through the body. So this is why I've always said, The kidneys are vital to work on. The colon has always been, since the crack of dawn, the focus of man in health, actually, and the lymphatic system and the endocrine glands. That little focus right there will yield you just about any type of curing that there is. So, I would work with that. Make sure my parathyroid is up. If not, take a glandular, because I don't know. The herbs that are good for the glands, you look at my adrenal gland formula, my endocrine gland formula, all the berries, if you'll notice, a lot of them are berries. They're good for the endocrine glands. If you look at saw palmetto berry, it's not only good for the prostate, it's good for the ovaries, it's good for the thyroid. So when you look at the berries seem to be the glandular foods. That's why I say eat a lot of fruits, berries, and melons, because now you're really taking on the body here. When you want to build muscle and stuff, if you want to pump the green drinks, okay, that's good for that. But really focus on the detoxification first. I think this is really instrumental in your end goal. It's like setting up a goal. And the first phase has to be to eliminate that which is blocking you from health. Because you can't build up and move the lymph system at the same time. You're trying to do two different things at the same time. You will build up. I can tell you that I see some people that are malabsorbed get skinny, and on raw. And once they fix the fruits and some salads and the herbs start fixing that, then they start putting on muscle on the same foods they were losing it on. So, it's a go figure type of thing. But when you understand that the body is an intelligent being, that it is first going to clean itself, which is obvious, and then it'll build itself. You can't rebuild tissue in an acid medium. Acids are corrosive in nature. So it always comes down to that. And I've made enough videos here to give you this knowledge with this. And so we want to keep that knowledge going. Another question here, real important, was the guy that, what's your name, Dan, on the RA. Yeah, you're up against a chronic battle, my friend. Hang in there. I'd stay away from, again, the acid fruits. Might irritate the acids in the body. It just has that ability to do that. Nightshades, you always stay away from those. Potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants, stuff like that. I'd stay away from the cruciferous, the sulfur ones, because most of our RA clients have a lot of sulfur in their bodies. I'd really hit down that subacid category of fruits, the grapes, the apples, the pears, the peaches, the mangoes. A good classification for you. If you want to do some green drinks, certainly you would do the dandelion green, you would do the parsley, and you would do the beet, maybe a little spinach in there. But it's going to take you a bit. I would, like I told you before, we have an inflammation joint formula for kind of like a steroid thing. A licorice should be a great one for you. It'll enhance the adrenal glands. It acts as natural cortisol. So that would be a really good one for you, licorice root. FDA doesn't like it. You know what? They don't like anything that's good, and there's no reason. Alkaloids are alkaloids. We don't extract alkaloids. So that's insane thinking. That's pharmaceutical companies, remember? So that'll help you out there. And hang in for the ride. You could be a year or more. Really, and maybe even longer. Don't get upset with that. That's why I like the herbs, because they'll accelerate that time. I'd really clean out my bowels. If you got a lot of sulfur, you're going to see orange stools coming out of you. And hang in there, my friend. You'll be okay. Yeah, there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Some people are going to work for it. I don't know what to say about it. I was lucky. I didn't go through such radical things, but I have... really, and maybe even longer. Don't get upset with that. That's why I like the herbs, because they'll accelerate that time. I'd really clean out my bowels. If you got a lot of sulfur, you're going to see orange stools coming out of you. And hang in there, my friend. You'll be okay. Yeah, there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Some people are going to work for it. I don't know what to say about it. I was lucky. I didn't go through such radical things, but I have... help people through some radical healing crisis, from blindness to paralysis I try to tell some of these stories of what we've seen. And some of the healing crises are scary. But you hang in there because we're here to help you. We're doing the best we can. And we'll work you through these. Like I said, detoxification is an art. And I think that gentleman that asked me about where do I go from here, I have a 5-day class. It's only 5 days. I used to offer it every month, every quarter, now every 6 months, now every year. But, I've been doing this all my life. I burned candles at both ends, so, you gotta understand I'm getting a little burnt. But in 5 days, we get deep into it. Why the genetics, understanding how these different bodies impact the cell, impact plants, impact the life. Detoxification. I work you through clients, and then you start working me through clients. And we work together and show you. I have 1 day of iridology there. But with that, you go out and you start helping people. And this is why I call it detoxification specialists, because a lot of states are really on the verge of major lawsuits. As you guys smarten up, especially you paralegals, we got some really sharp paralegals. I've got a really sharp paralegal. And this guy's good. Really good. Better than most attorneys, let me tell you. And he's just happy in his niche. But this guy is unbelievable. Researches like crazy. I mean, it really is good. And so the problem is these states have conspired, in my opinion, with the American Medical Association to create a monopoly, and they brainwash people to think that we are something alternative. God is something that's alternative, and that we can pose a lot of harm to people. Yet, allopathically, as we've discussed, Gary Knoll did a great piece. A lot of medical doctors. I mean, I've got a folder this thick of the crimes against humanity from the allopathic community, and these are recorded crimes. My significant other is a cardiac nurse, and I can tell you the things that go on that's not recorded. So, and I spent years in hospitals too, so I've seen a lot of things, and it's like, you can't fool an old fool. So, I mean, these are some of the problems that we face here. And so these, these deprivation of right lawsuits are going to start, and we're going to help people to fight these states, to teach them a lesson that you signed the Constitution, which grants everybody a right to make a living and seek a living without licensures. When someone requires you to get a license, they're telling you that it's a privilege for you to practice whatever it is you're going to practice. And it is not a privilege if you're born in one of the 50 states. It's your right. And this government needs to learn about rights. But to keep yourself well, you've got to get away from this idiotic, stupid concept of diseases. It doesn't exist. Everything is chemistry and physics, cells and two fluids. And that's it. And of course, all these cells are specialists, and when these cells don't function properly, you're going to see a symptom, depending on what they do, what area of the body. And so medical doctors have coached this up. You remember heartburn, now it's acid GERD, acid reflux disease, because they can treat diseases and then they can block you from it. This kind of power and narcissism can't be had on this planet anymore if the planet wants to sustain human life and a good life anymore. If not, it's going to implode in that way, no question. But you're not trying to treat diseases anyway. You're an educator. You help people to detoxify their bodies because you know that it is acids that are breaking down these cells. It's chemistry. They can't get you for teaching what's real and what's right. You're using raw foods. In this country, herbs are foods. You're using herbs and foods to clean and regenerate the human body. Oh, well, diseases? I'm playing with... No. We don't believe in diseases. That's for people that want to live in fear and disempower people. No. You want to empower yourself. And that's why I like detoxification specialists, because as the world's going to learn, detoxification is the golden key that unlocks the magic. It's the only key that unlocks the magic. It is, who can detoxify better? What have you learned? Let's share. Let's grow. Can we use this? Can we use that? What we don't do. You know, there's this fight between some of us about vegetable matter, and they're pumping it out there like, don't do fruits, don't do fruits, don't do fruits, berries, and melons. I mean, smoking something in the back room here, boys. I mean, this is something that it's just insane thinking. And so my clinic has proved totally the opposite, that vegetables will not detoxify you at the levels you need. You know, I had a lady from the Hippocrates the other day, and she's ranting and raving about me wanting so much fruits. And she had been there. She had a large tumor in her breast. And she said, well, my blood work looks good. I spent a lot of money over there. My blood work looks good. I'm feeling better, everything good, but tumor's still here. And I said, of course. So we all need to work together, because the real reality is we have a lot of hurting people, and the reality is the client, getting them better. And maybe people don't report back to them and let them know they're not going anywhere. Their tumors are still here, because we get them parading over here all the time with that. And we're good at helping people remove tumors. Not 100%. There's some people just can't get it, can't get with it. So forgive me for popping around here, but I've set off a couple hours here so I can get your question answered, and I'm doing the best I can. So forgive me. Again, call the clinic if you have an emergency, please. I'm not after to hurt anybody. I'm after to help you all. This guy has, fruit seems to burn his digestive tract. It sounds like you've got some ulcers there, except bananas. You know, you might have a lot of sulfur in your gut. If you get up real close to a real strong mirror and get a flashlight, if you have orange anywhere in your eye, particularly right around the pupil, orange, that's sulfur. Sulfur is a constant burn to the GI tract wall. It absorbs. It's from the use of penicillin and a lot of these sulfa drugs. And the problem, what the medical doctors don't understand, is these sulfa drugs will stay in you. I have a good friend that ran a hospital in San Diego, and when he came to study with me, he realized he had sulfur. And he called me the other day and said, you know, I guess just can't find an antidote to this sulfur. And I said, I don't know one either, detoxification. You got to put on the robe and walk down the road. You know, I mean, there's just no other way that I know of either. You know, so... You know, I poisoned myself here. I think I told you that I was working with herbs for spinal cord injuries and MS and Lou Gehrig's, because the neurological, when I see someone in a wheelchair, my heart just goes, whoa, here, let me help you, because we've helped some people get out of them. And we've done some incredible work, what limited amount of clients we have that come in here that are quads or paraplegics. And that's fantastic. Fox News has filmed a great story. So, we took a C3, C4 quad and totally reconnected her after 12 years down, head-on car crash, completely severed her spine. So we did well with that case, and there's some really great cases here. Got an Amish boy walking. He was only down like 6 or 8 months when I got him, and he regenerated real quick. No, I forget. He was down less than 2 years, and in 6 months we got him up and got him reconnected. I thought that was pretty good, you know. So... this Peruvian bark, never use Peruvian bark, and Christopher has it in his book. Someone asked me, you know, about herbal schools, and I do recommend you go to herbal schools. I think the East-West Herbal School, I never attended Michael Cara's this Peruvian bark, never use Peruvian bark, and Christopher has it in his book. Someone asked me, you know, about herbal schools, and I do recommend you go to herbal schools. I think the East-West Herbal School, I never attended Michael Cara's school, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. Dr. Christopher has a great herb school. You did reference Dominion. I did graduate from Dominion. Great school. Difficult, you know, but great school. Emerson, another Canadian school, very good school, makes you think. I love these schools. The Canadian schools are the greatest, I think, in terms of making you learn what it is, but then Christopher's good. There's plenty of European schools. I've never taken the Australian course. what's her name that she makes the nice face cream. She's got I've done her work. I just never sent it in. I probably took about 15 different courses in different schools, just because I wanted to learn as much as I could about botanicals. And I think that would be a worthy pursuit for you at helping people, but get an herbal degree. People seem to like some kind of piece of paper on the wall. I used to say, if I have my wall lined with degrees, people will believe me then. So I studied. I had degrees everywhere, all over my walls. And then I went, my spiritual side came in and and I went and tore them all up. Thank God I got most of them back. But, because people, states, and like, oh, look, what, you don't know anything. That's the problem. We feel like we have to be some intellectual wizard to know these things, and it's not true. This is why I don't promote too much intellectualism, because you'll just breed confusion. Been there, done that. And that's why I try to teach you, don't waste your time. Enjoy the now, be happy, help others. That's where we are in our society right now. And we learn how easy it is to heal people. Maybe this financial side will really take a big break. And all the good nurses out there can get involved here and become good practitioners, because, we have a lot of great nurses out there that do not like the use of chemical medications. There's a holistic nurses association up here in Sarasota, 200 or 300 strong. I love those guys, and so this is the most logical direction that anyone has that has a loving heart to help people, because we don't hurt anybody. At least we don't try to. Yeah, you're going to be sensitive. You're talking about your gallbladder too. I want you to always remember this word, guys. And I coined this word. I think it's a great word. And it's interstitial lymphatic constipation. I said that to some lady yesterday. She said, I don't have constipation. And she wasn't listening. Interstitial lymphatic constipation. Interstitial means around the cells. Lymphatic, that's 3/4 of that fluid that runs around the cells. Constipation means I'm not moving anything. So that's what we're facing in the liver, in the gallbladder, in the bowel. And when you see that backing up, it backs up from head to toe. So it's going to take you a while to work through these things. That's why I'm more pedal to the metal than I am sitting back and twiddling my thumbs, because we have, people with, I'd say 80% of our clientele are cancer people. People that have nowhere else to go. They've been released. They're terminal. Blah, 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 blah. And so I'm pedal to the metal. I just don't have any speed, but let's go. I don't know. But you can slow down. Those that are not terminal and those that don't have cancer and stuff are so acidic they're burning themselves up very rapidly, which is what cancer is. Basically, the RA guy, you really want to really hit it and stay raw. And there's a big difference between 100% raw and 90, 80, a big difference. And you can tell that. And you can experiment on yourselves. Eat 100% raw for a couple weeks and then just go have a cooked meal. You really can feel the difference. Well, that difference also is in healing. And so, just important to think that. So it might take you a while to work this out. I use 2 kidney formulas again. I use 2 lymphatic formulas. And I make one of the lymphatic formulas a capsule, so it'll work through the bowel, the intestinal area, and clean that as well lymphatically. And then I always go after the glands. Some of you might want to stay on Parasite M for a while and get the fungus out of you. And if you got moles growing on you, until they come off. If I don't get going, and probably. Let me see here. I have ever since been having a large amount of hair every day. Yeah, this lady is shredding hair. She's 21 years old and she's losing hair. I have to say that, lymphatic is the biggest reason that you lose hair, not moving your lymph system properly upstairs. There's been a thought that the thyroid gland somehow contributes to hair loss, but I have to say that's probably more lymphatic in that case. I'll say this too, when you go on all raw, you might lose some hair. Remember my story about the first client I had that had no fingernails, they fell off? Sometimes when you go all on raw, your weaker cells are going to be terminated. and you're going to grow in new strong ones. So you have to look at that in detox, that type of thing. So I would just pursue that. If you want to help that, I have an upper circulation formula, and someone was reporting in here the other day that now they're getting hair growing all over their head. This is what health is. When I poisoned myself with this Peruvian bark, this is high quinine, my hair went totally white as the wall, and of course I lost the ability to breathe. So I went into a semi-coma. That took me a few years to work out of that. There's no remedy to, quinine. You know, there's no antidote to quinine like there is arsenic. So it's a major neurotoxin. Remember, we talked about neurotoxins before. So each of our lives are full of all kinds of crap. Some good, some not so good. So I say we just work together, we don't judge each other, and we just keep moving down this road of getting well and happy and healthy, and we enjoy the now. Because I don't know what else there is, to be honest with you. Things are culminating, and I think your survival spiritually is going to be, don't use the mind, because that's where everything's manipulated. Governments, everybody's manipulating the mind and emotions of man. And the airways are so full. There's probably almost every channel now is full of chatter. So some people are going nuts with this. So this is why it's so important. It's pushing you to either get to yourself as soul, which is beyond the mind, or you're going to get lost and absorbed, and it could not be a fun ride. So your survival, as someone put it here, is getting to be who you are. It's getting beyond the mind into that now position, and where you can let that stuff chatter by, and you're resting in the allness of the all. And I think that's going to be the best way to survive this tremendous chatter that's going on here. Yeah, thanks, Lion Man. I tell you what, I do like that 1111 stuff. I think it's cool. I just keep seeing it all the time. Some of these other numbers you said, 144, some guy mentioned that. Yeah, and great stuff, you know, and you all are just so good. I work here, worked kind of outside of the spiritual, having brethren, friends that are very spiritual. We have many that come in, and it's fun to talk to a friend that's more aware. And so someone was sending me this thing talking about the Singh group. Kirpal Singh. Yeah, Paul Twitchell did study with Kirpal Singh. And after he got through with Kirpal Singh, the Ekmasters came to him. Everything's a step. And I just think that when you reach the Sat-Nam world, which I talked about in the spiritual video, which is the soul consciousness or soul plane, it doesn't matter after that. From that on, but there's a lot of worlds beyond Sat-Nam. And but I tell you, I loved all the Singh group. You know, everybody said this about Paul Twitchell or this about Kirpal Singh, or I met Darshan Singh in Tampa up here one time, or in St. Pete one time, but I tell you, I loved all the Singh group. You know, everybody said this about Paul Twitchell or this about Kirpal Singh, or I met Darshan Singh in Tampa up here one time, or in St. Pete one time, and I wish it had expanded a little more, but the Singh group is the Radhaswami group, the great group. Anybody that works from the consciousness of Satnam or the soul plane, I have a immediate affiliation for, because it's beyond creation, and it makes you just a different individual. So I love all that. Mutt, he's a great friend, and he's a Sudar Singh guy. A Kirpal or a Radhaswami. So all of that's good. Anybody that's a total God lover, I'm involved in that, because I don't judge. I don't care. There's all kinds of levels out there. Paul Twitchell went through a lot of levels. That man has a story that's just unreal, and he was a powerful dude. He played out of his body at 3 years old with his sister, more out of his body than in his body. His profound knowledge and written works are just incredible. And so when I first got, after I got rid of my health food stores, I taught classes with a chiropractor about health. And then on the other nights, I taught bilocation and out-of-body travels, which in the early days, Eckankar was called the science of bilocation. As Darwin came in as the master, it brought him in more into the now and brought it into a way of life, because there's nothing you can say about spirituality but just be it and live it. And that's the problem. There's not a lot of words like in metaphysics. You can define the creation, you can get into the different heavens and the different realms, and you can get into all that, and the names of the overlords and all da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But in reality, consciousness is. So very few words to define that. Sometimes when I lecture now, it's difficult to come up with the words because I'm just enjoying the now. It's just really hard to define that sort of thing. So there's a group, the Way of Truth. They're a good group. Everybody's just trying to help everybody, I think. And there's a lot of spiritual beings that are out in other realms. I've talked to a lot of spiritual beings that never ever was at the physical level here. And amazing to talk to someone that's a soul that's never experienced this level. Woo. They claim a lot of souls are just waiting. Not me. B12. Work on your adrenals. There's a big hype about B12 and cobalt. You work on your adrenals and you'll see that shift. I was sitting in Shania Twain's house in Switzerland one time, and I was having this conversation with the president of Nestle's baby food company about B12, and adamant that only the meat products, and then you have the other group that says only the vegetable products, So his wife said, well, honey, when I eat meat, my B12 goes down. When I eat vegetables, my B12 goes up. So I thought that was pretty good. Is ephedra safe? Ephedra is very powerful stimulant, so I would be real low dosages on some of these things, because I'm really not into stimulants. Ephedra is great for the lungs, but I would do it in low dosages, I tell you the truth. Peruvian bark I would never do. Not a fun situation to get poisoned with a major neurotoxin. It's just not fun. It's just not being able to breathe is not good, and you have to consciously remember to breathe or you won't. So it's amazing. It's amazing. This is Mike. Thanks, Mike. You're a good man. V Karma. Whoa, love it. We'll help you in every way we can. Get you, study some herbs if you want. But the difference between the DVD and my classes, that each year we get bigger and I cover more, and I don't know. Each year you do something, you feel like it's better than the last. But certainly that DVD is just packed with information that for you, and as much as it's got everything I could get in there. No one fails in my class. There is a test that you have to take, because I have to know that you know what you're talking about. It's not difficult, but you have to know what we're talking about here to pass that test. Because I don't want to give you a certificate and you not know what you're talking about. I want you to know, because you represent the God people, and want you to know. And it's simple. It's not difficult. And if you don't know, I help you to know, because I'll write you and I'll help you work it out till you really get a good feeling about. But I haven't found that no one's ever flunked my test. Most people are very. Some people have to know more about how you take care of clients, and other people really get that down. So really, these tapes are very good at helping to really tie you into what this test is all about. But certainly, you want to really take off and help people. I think that's the need, and we need you everywhere. And this project is looking really, really good, and we're going to have healing centers all around the world. And I'm going to be looking for people that know what they're talking about, because it could become sooner than later. I don't know. I'd say within 2 years, at least, or now. Rocks and clocks, blessing you, crazy old. I thought it said bastard at first, but it was buzzard. Either one. I've been called all kinds of things. Thanks, Rock. I tell you what, I'm doing my best here, clucking along here. And Retreat Chef, man, I think you're pretty cool. I like what you had to say about 1111. Amazing. Amazing stuff, guys. Long video. Sorry about the long videos and me ranting and raving on, you know. I'll get better. I mean, you know, I just need to depart this, and I want to educate you on all levels. This person asked me about toast staff. You know, think about this. Bacteria are just hungry little people. And what are they hungry? They're the janitors of life. Why would we kill the janitors? I don't want to do what they do. You know, we have to understand that you're a culturing medium. That toe of yours, it reminds me of that commercial for Lamisil about the fungus that lifts up the toe and jumps in and plays with all the gook. It's the gook that's the problem, and that's your lymph system, you know. So you could use Parasite M to help with that stuff, but at the same time, they're just there helping you to break down that lymph. That's suggestive that your kidneys aren't filtering, of course, that lymph well. So get on those, the raw like we're talking about here. Go after a lymphatic formula, the kidney formulas, 2 lymphatic formulas, and really get aggressive moving your lymph, and that'll clean that up. And that is also for toe fungus, same thing, or fingernail fungus, the same thing. You know, you can kill the microbes, but they'll be back. I mean, because you're not, you know, you're not fixing you're not getting the remedy of the cause. And so that's really what this is about, addressing the causative factors, which is not difficult to understand. You know, I mean, we're really simple here. We eat and drink and breathe and put stuff on our skin, and that's chemistry. There's nothing else out there. I mean, except the emotions and the intellect. That's a big one, but that's a story of a different color, isn't it? Oh yeah, Mike in Seattle. Yeah, I like what you said about 1111 is the God number. Yeah, I fully believe that. It feels that. So that was a good take. You and Lion Man need to get together. Someone asked me here about using oils. I don't mind oils, but you want to be careful. The FDA does come up with some good things. And one of them was oils are toxic at high dosages. So remember I was telling you about the Gerson Clinic was using 100,000 units of beta-carotene and vitamin A, and then they don't do that anymore that I've seen. And of course the FDA doesn't prefer use of internal essential oils. I think oils are very toxic at high dosages, and I think you have to be careful. You know, we don't need a lot of fatty acids. That's what you're looking for, is fatty acids. And I think coconuts are an incredible source of fatty acids for us. But I don't mind some. If you overdo these concentrated forms of chemistry, it can slow detox and not make you feel too good. And that reminds me, someone asked me about that Keegan water, whatever it is, for 9.5. You're right, a lot of people are getting sick at 9.5. I addressed this before, but I want to address this again since this is a recent question again. Dangerous. Dangerous to pull the pH 2 alkaline as it is to pull it 2 acid. The blood's only 7.4. Remember that. And so again, I was talking about cesium, and that's about the highest alkaline mineral we have, isn't it? Something like that. So it's about 8. I wouldn't go much past 8.5, to be honest with you. I think 9.5 is too high. And proof of it is I'm hearing a lot of negative feedback about that high of pH. So I tell you, what really works isn't what people come up and say, well, this is a clinical study, or people always ask me about double-blind studies. I was doing a radio show one day, and so I knew he's a medical doctor, asked me about double-blind studies and what I was referring to here. And that was the day President Clinton was apologizing to the blacks for that syphilis double-blind study where all those blacks died from syphilis when they had ability to help them, but they were experimenting. You know, double-blind studies, I love 60 Minutes when they're being smart, not what they did to Carrie Reams. That was ignorant. But they did do a nice study on a show on double-blind studies, and basically the end result, who pays wins. Who pays wins. Some of these double-blind studies are done in medical doctor's office with the wrong people involved. I mean, this was 60 Minutes. So all I can tell you is I'm interested in clinical observation, clinical work. How's it on a living being? That's what's important. You know, if it cures, keep going. You know, because you wouldn't want to hold something back from someone just because you were studying it. I mean, I don't know. We got some weird thinking there. That's the intellectual mind there. So yeah, I don't care about some essential fatty acids, 3s, 6s, and 9s. Again, if you're not into animal products, stay away from the 3s. This is a person that's losing hair again, borderline hypothyroidism, slow stagnant mucus. Remember, the more acidic the body gets, the more anionic, the more dehydrated, the thicker the mucus gets in the body. And so, yeah, it becomes even more difficult, especially if you've been constipated lymphatically for 20 years or 30 or 40 years, in some cases more. You know, going to take you a while to break through that, especially if you've been a milk drinker all your life. Going to be, you hold the biggest challenge is to get into your lymph system and drain it, unfortunately. And yet we still are able to buy milk products. I find that amazing, you know. Again, keep working on that. She was given, or he was given, insulin shots, and that really messed him up. Probably a female here. Yeah, honey, you know what? You just get your health back. And what's the beauty of this is the body loves to be healthy, and you'll get your health back. We've had cases that you look at and go, oh my God. They get their health back. I mean, I love it. So we've had some of the most extreme cases be able to get their health back. But we've also had some extreme cases. They were just days away from death, and then they left because we couldn't get them in time. Babies that we couldn't get in time. So it's like, frustrating. But we've got a ton of it out there. And real important that you guys are doing what you're doing. I can't overemphasize the joy I feel in talking with you through your comments and the fact that I see you all getting better and you're helping others. Rick Campbell, you know, don't make comments like that. Call us. Come call the clinic. That's all we can offer you. I mean, I can't do any more than what I'm doing. And I wouldn't want anybody to suffer. I'm just not into that sort of thing. Juicing russet potatoes. Huh. You know, raw potatoes. If you have a small abscess or a sty or like a tumor that's ready to pop, you can just scrape a raw potato into a 4x4 gauze and put it on there. It's very astringent. I don't know about fasting on it, but certainly you can have raw potato juice in your thing. I'm a little cautious about a starchy juice like that. I've never actually fasted on or lived on potato juice. I know that if you go back to Bernard McFadden, who they claim died from breaking a fast on boiled potatoes, that would be not good. But I couldn't imagine someone of that caliber breaking a fast on boiled potatoes. I mean, but you got some people out there that just really, you know, they're experimenters, and then some go off into another world because of it. But this is to reset bowel bacteria, but russet potatoes. Well, you know, I built a lot of homes and put in a lot of new septic tanks, and you always hear people say you got to seat your septic tanks with bacteria, and I always said, no, you don't. You might smell it for a couple days, but you can't keep them out. And you're going to cultivate the bacteria in relationship to the type of food you're eating. Everything is different. I've never seen a need to reseed any bacteria. If you've been on a lot of antibiotics, maybe. But again, it doesn't take long, and you can't keep them out. So I've just never had those kind of problems in my clinic, and needing to reseed intestinal bacteria with people or give them digestive enzymes, because I'm fixing things. So I don't know. I see some of the negative sides of doing stuff like that. Hey, Drew, appreciate your comments. Drew's a good guy. Yeah, survival beyond the mind. This person I love how you have your little thing there. Ricky, uh, yeah, survival beyond the mind. This person, I love how you have your little thing there. Ricky, uh, 5 years ago, let's see, came off of this drug and dealing with high blood pressure, and you're 140/90. Well, you know what? You got kidney weakness big time. That 90 diastolic is your kidneys. Now, if you're flipping and it's high like that one day and low the next day, that's pressure up here in your cerebellum. But if you're steadily 90 high like that, that's your kidneys. And you want to check blood pressure both arms because you have two kidneys. So you're going to look at that. The systolic 140, I don't care. It's not that's concernful. That's being pushed up by the kidneys. The kidneys is the one I'm more concerned with, and that's your steady blood pressure. That's your pressure in your pipes, basically. That's the one that's concernful, and that's controlled by the kidneys. So that gives me a good idea. And the way you've said this, you were probably born with weak kidneys. But that's what's there. You're 45. I mean, I can say from my age down, kidney, and probably I see it in the older people too. You've done well dropping your weight, so you just keep on coming down. Now that also shows you that the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys, you're having trouble with sugars and stuff. So stay away from starches and stuff. Put yourself on the raw. If you need some cooked vegetables, okay. You're not trying to kill yourself. You can use a cayenne garlic. I've got a cayenne garlic, but it's got like butcher's broom and some other good herbs in there just to kind of keep the vascular system dilated a little bit while you're bringing your blood pressure down. I like that. I use an organic cayenne pepper, which is about 25,000 heat units. I'm not into the Richard Schultz's the habaneros, go, because then you overstimulate the mucosa, produces more mucus. And so I'm not really, that's old thinking. I really don't get into stimulants like that, but a nice, easy cayenne pepper of about 25,000, that's an organic cayenne pepper. A little dilator. You can use niacin or niacinamide if you want to keep a little dilation going on, but I tell you what, go after your kidneys, go after your lymph system, and work on your adrenals. Don't take the adrenal gland formula herbal-wise because it has a little licorice. Licorice raises your blood pressure. Excellent for low blood pressure cases. In high blood pressure, you might take a glandular for your adrenal glands. And then when you get it down, you're going to find you're going to go into low blood pressure. High blood pressure is really low blood pressure. You're going to see that. And so when you're 90, you want your blood pressure 120/60. That's textbook. So anywhere from 120 to 130, 60 to 70, you're right in a perfect range. But keep working on your body like that, my friend, and you'll do well. You'll bring it down. The next question was about Crohn's. Interstitial lymphatic constipation in the wall of the gut. And this is why moving that lymph, even in the bowel wall, what's interesting, and I always wondered because you see a lot of mucus coming out of your wall when you detoxify and you pull on that and it comes out, which is good. But I've often wondered about the lymph system in the gut wall, why it can't just go right out the gut wall. And when I see people that have had a lot of sulfur in the gut wall, if they've had it for years, you begin to see it pull toward the lymph nodes, meaning that it still has a lymph node route and still has a route through the kidneys, my guess. So work always on those mediums here. I better get going here. I was hoping I would catch up here. Someone was taking motherwort and hawthorn berry and still felt, even with hawthorn, as gentle as that is, you're still feeling some cardiac stuff. Well, you know what? I'd back off of that and I would go on a raw foods like you're doing. Go up on the fruit side, and if you can handle some berries like blueberries and stuff, cherries and stuff, and clean my system out a little bit before I got into those. Those are pretty gentle herbs. I have them in my heart formula, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on in your heart. You have cardiac healing going on. So I don't know, what you're facing. The heart is like any other tissue. It's made of a bunch of cells that have a blood supply, has a lymph supply, and of course has a nerve supply. So you know when your nervous system is down in the heart, you see arrhythmias. You know when your blood supply is being withdrawn, you get ischemia or basically heart attacks or pain, things like that. And of course, when the lymph is backed in the heart, you have congestive heart failure. So this is true in every tissue of the body. Everything, brain, liver, pancreas, everywhere. It's all the same. It's just when it's tied right to direct breathing and the like, it's kind of in your face. So I would take the gentle approach first, and do with the diet first and work myself that way through that. Recommended reading. You know what? I'm about out of time. That's what I forgot. I was going to bring you some books. So the next one I shoot, we're going to take you on a trip through our little clinic Thursday here. Now, this probably will be up today, I hope. We're doing our best, so please don't get upset at us. But I want to take you a trip on our clinic. I'll show you how big we're not. And then I was surprised when I first met Dr. Jensen. He called me after learning of us, and when I went out to visit him one time, I was amazed at how small of an operation this worldwide giant had, But I'm going to take you that, and I'll give you some recommended reading, absolutely. I'll pull some old books, and I'll give you a name of a company you can go to. This company, it took researched old books and then copied them, for you. Books you could never get anymore. And this company is called Health Research. And the Health Research has had catalogs a mile thick. Now, they've kind of tapered down probably because of lack of business, but if you want any spiritual books or any health books, things that are in the 1700s, 60 Culpepper's, the 1800s, I mean, these guys have got a list that'll knock your socks off. It's called Health Research. Might be able to Google them up, but I buy a lot of books from them, from the old giants, Herbert Shelton and the Natural Hygienic, and that was Tilton, Thoreau, T.C. Fry. Of course, he died way out here, but you know what? Sometimes you burn out when you get older. It's just a life because everything tugs on you here. You have positive and negative, and sometimes you know better, but you always can't do. I know all of you know that. So it's just one of those things. When you're young, you're going, you're pumping, and then you start taking it on, taking on the world and trying to fight the injustices, and that's a stressor. So, it's tough. So I don't judge Fry as I don't judge anybody. Or did I judge Jensen? He was real big too. But he wasn't a raw food vitalist. He saw a 12-year-old being fasted by Shelton, which was his personal friend, and she died, and he freaked out, and he just didn't go raw. And it's like, man, so when I put him on raw, it was a big deal for him. But, raw is key, and there's no question about it. Anything by Arnold Ehret, that guy was a cool dude. So, anything. Professor Clements, he called himself. Or Professor Hotima. George Clements was his name. And then there was McFadden, of course, and then there's Raymond Bernard. There's a lot of these great old fruitarian thinkers. Whether they were or not, I'm not sure, but they certainly had the understanding and the thinking of that way. So these are all good books, Oh yeah, pearls. Thanks for the beautiful comment there, honey. I appreciate it. I like pearls too. I love that when you figured that out. 111, and you subtract your birth date and your age, or you add your age and your birth date, you always get 100. That's pretty cool stuff. I've heard that before, and it's like, wow, is that not cool? I mean, it's all cool stuff. What specific juices will help clean my limbs and kidneys? Grape juice, lemonade, orange juice, fresh. It's all fresh. Grapefruit juice. Even apple's a great detoxifier. Some people mix apples and grape because pure grape, dark grape, real strong. But the lemon juice by far, to me, is one of the strongest. Like I said, a lot of us have gotten up there. And I said on my other videos, I just had a lady come off 45 days. She kicks my butt. That's a 45 days. I fasted a lady 75 days once on juices. She lost 100 pounds, but she went 75 days. Now, I can't remember. I think she only did 20-some, the lemons, and then the grapes, but fruit juices, I fasted her 75 days. She looked great, felt great, dropped 100 pounds. She lost 100 pounds, but she went 75 days. Now, I can't remember. I think she only did 20-some, the lemons, and then the grapes, and but fruit juices, I fasted her 75 days. She looked great, felt great, dropped 100 pounds. So it was good. I was after her lymph nodes because they all had sulfur in them. I was trying to break them loose. It's a trip. It's a trip. So yeah, Sandra, take off. Keep working on that. Your teeth are abscessing. Yeah, your lymph system's really backed up. So when you're fighting your weight, you have kidney and adrenals. Your abscesses. This is the lymph system. So you're right on. Keep going. Dig deeper. Use the 2 kidney formulas, 2 lymphatic formulas. Make sure one's a like lymphatic 1 capsules, and say lymphatic 4. And then change lymphatic 4 to maybe lymph node 2 sometime. Also use the stomach and bowel formula, clean up the gut, pop up your adrenals and things like that, and you'll be good. Now, here's one that I don't know if this is a male. I am a type 1 diabetic and have been since I was 13. He's 29 now. He's got overweight, but that, of course, we know it's the adrenals, right? Now, type 1 is generally the pancreas, unless it's a neurological type 1, meaning that nervous system is controlled by the adrenals again, the autonomic. So, don't mean to be confusing about it, but you have blood, nerve, and lymph controlling the health of and the function of things. And particularly in the endocrine glands, you got to realize the nervous system is also the electrical department that turns on things. So a lot of things are neurological nowadays because the adrenals are so low. And you said something about your dad here too, didn't you? But anyway, you asked me about celery, beets, and carrots. I would say dandelion, greens, parsley, and beets. Those 3 would be excellent. You could add anything from there would be okay. A little bit in a carrot juice. Carrot juice was, I used to do a lot of carrot juice fasting, and then when I moved to fruits, I went, whoa, oh, this is a lot better, a lot deeper. I love that. So I've been there. I've done years of this, and all levels of fasting. A lot of water fasting, and so very familiar with the difference between vegetables and fruits. Very familiar. And I've helped, well over 100,000 people do it as well. Now, your father told me that he gets stomach aches when he drinks it. Yeah, I mean, beets are real strong, so you might have to take it a little easier on Dad. I'd probably give him more bowls of fruit, big mixtures of fruit with apples and bananas and grapes and stuff, and get him in maybe a mix like that. We're more frugivores, and take it easy on the juices. But the greens would be good for him too. I mean, you got type 1 from somebody here in terms of the weakness of cells, genetically speaking. And my time's almost up. Darn. I was hoping to get through this. Yeah, I use the stomach and bowel formulas. We have a heal all tea. It's a cancer tea, but it's a healing tea. I would definitely have him drink that heal all tea and get in the stomach and heal that tissue up. In a light diet, if he has to have some steamed vegetables, it hurts real bad, then have him steam some vegetables and stuff. Salads might be rough on him. And so just kind of take it gentle with him for a while you repair the stomach. And then, kick it up another notch and keep on going. And you'll be good with that. What are your thoughts on, the 9.5, I took care of that. I look a little out of shape. I am a little overweight, that's for sure, I'll tell you that. I've always worked out, so I feel pretty good that way. I've always been barrel-chested. My grandfather, I was raised by him, barrel-chested. I worked from the day I was born almost, because we had farms, we had all kinds of things, and so we're always working, so I never lacked for muscle. And we had fresh food, but then we had a lot of milk and crap like that. So I never had a problem with that way. When I was totally on the oranges for 6 months, I never broke 156. I couldn't never break 156. And when I look at my pictures back then, I did look a little skinny. But I never could break that. My body would never let me drop. And yet I have some men down 120. They have malabsorption. They have chronic guts. And you got to work on those things and pull yourself out of that. Let's see if I can get to a few more here before they pull me and stop this. You're right about the black magnetic sulfates. You're right. I don't get anything like that. Dangerous, in my opinion, for some long-term issues there. Don't need it. Don't need it. Don't need to play in that world. Health is much simpler than these sort of things. I think that the treatment-based thinking has consumed man, and they're looking for that magic antidote. And remember that Ponce de Leon story where his horse was eating on it all the while. And you guys have got it. You guys keep it simple. And when the intellectual mind starts taking off, put it out there. Go, no, you know what? You go play in your own world. I'm free from that, because you don't need it. You don't see any other animals doing these things. Let this planet Earth be the largest laboratory that you have access to, because it is. Not man's laboratory, the Supreme Being's laboratory. That's actually working and supporting how many life forms? So when man's arrogance comes up and wants to do something outside of that, that's when we've gotten in trouble. But then, of course, the maturity of the human consciousness is relatively new, really, when you look at that. So, yeah, you're right. You guessed it. I'm definitely against that kind of stuff. I certainly am. You don't want to wake up. Mold exposure. Yeah, definitely clean out your lymph system and live on Parasite M for a while and get this out of your body, clean this up, and then you can deal with mold. I think the biggest problem we face nowadays, people have lived with mold for years, but we are so adrenal weak that we are already full of fungus. We can't, our lymph systems are so much more toxic. Our kidneys are so much more weaker that we can't tolerate what the older people used to. So, yeah, clean your body out, get rid of that stuff, and really get your health back there. But you got you really about your lymph system here. You got joint pain, blurred vision. A lot of this about your lymph system, too. Don't forget that. Don't want to just blame the mold for everything, but clean your lymph system out and use a parasitic formula. Someone asked me about using gallons of silver. Using gallons of colloidal silver, oh my God, you can wake up with some very serious side effects. We have plenty of botanicals that do that with no side effects at all. So, best, safer, and then of course restore the health of the body here. And you were young when you went gray in your hair. That means your lymph system wasn't working well then, my friend. So you'll want to work again, go back to that lymph system again, and really work on that. Yeah, I thank you all for your comments, even though I don't acknowledge you each individually in terms of names. Some I can't make it out, but thank you all. I love you all. I really do. And again, to you, Rick Campbell, we're trying hard. This isn't anything we would ever do on purpose, but put yourself in my shoes here, and you'll see. Tell your wife to call the clinic here, and if she needs help, because we certainly love her and want her to be well, and don't want any suffering going on here. So just call. Don't be afraid. Just call the clinic here. There's a daughter that was allergic to fruits and all vegetables except carrots. Her lymph system is real bad. That's what that tells you. That when she starts eating fruit, she goes into a detoxification right now. So you're going to have to work her slowly through that and detoxify her. You're going to get into cold and flu-like symptoms. Children love 104, 105 degree temperatures. Keep that in mind. So we like temperature. We like 103. Kids, like I say, babies get up to 105 on us all the time. We keep them cooled down to 103, but let them clit that mucus out. Let them get it out. You're going to see coming out the nose, out the butt, out the mouth. Very important to clean these people out, or she'll get allergic to everything, and she'll be like the little boy in the bubble. So work on her, sweetheart. You'll be okay, and work her out of this. If you have to go slow, go slow. And there's no reason to go fast if you don't need to, and just work her back out of this. But you are going to have some healing crises with her, and those are good things. Sometimes we've got this idea about some of these healing crises being, bad, but they're not. They're very good, and you have to go through them. Some people go through some horrendous, and we've got babies going through some horrendous healing crises. Now, I wanted to get to this. This was a large response here, and I appreciate this. This is a sad story, too, so I'm sorry your wife had passed, my friend. But listen, you're Ryan. this is a sad story too. So I'm sorry your wife had passed, my friend. But listen, you're Ryan. The fruits and the gas. You know, you get gas when you don't digest your foods properly. You get gas when you combine your foods wrongly and they don't digest and you have fermentation. But you also get gas when you're cleaning sulfur off of the bowel wall or you're cleaning bowel pockets, but particularly sulfur. When you're releasing sulfur that's impacted in the bowel wall, you're going to get gas from that too. Those are the three ways. If you don't get gas with vegetables, then you're probably seeing the pulling of sulfur, because vegetables are much more difficult to digest than fruits. You're going to ferment them a lot easier, and you're going to see more gas with vegetables than you are fruits. So probably sulfur, that's leaving you, and because fruits are much more aggressive in detox. I don't care what anybody says. They're much more aggressive in detox, and you'll find that, and your comments have bore that out. Some great comments of people that have took this on, wore the robe, and really going, wow, I'm really moving. So really, and might use some apples. Apples are great, kind of a balance in that way. To see how that happens for you. Use more apples and grapes and stuff like that, and just keep going down that line. I don't like any women born thin. Yeah. So why should I? Yeah, you know what? If you get too thin on this program, keyword malabsorption. Keyword. And I'm telling you, probably at least half of the people viewing these videos have chronic bowels, and there is no one out there that has healthy bowels. I mean, I knew a surgeon in the early 70s that only saw one healthy colon, and that was in a 4-year-old dissection at Harvard. So we don't have healthy bowels. There's no such thing. They're spastic, they're prolapsed, they're ballooned, they're pocketed. There's no such thing as healthy colons in people. They're just you've got to come out of a George Burns family. But and there's no such thing as healthy kidneys. I mean, it's just very rarely. So you just have to work through this and get your health back. Once you start absorbing well, you'll put on weight, and it'll be the right weight and the right muscle, and you won't lose it on these stupid protein muscles. You're going to lose protein muscles every day long. Inferior muscles. They only make you stiff. They break down your kidneys, and not a way to put on muscles through protein. Strongest animals on the planet do not eat protein. Keep that in mind. So I appreciate that. I wrote something down here to tell you, and I can't even read my writing. I did this late at night last night, so I apologize there. So maybe I'll give this some more thought and add this to the next one. But yeah, be the light yourself, my friend. You're a good dude, Ryan, so keep it up. I missed some things here, I think, but I'm getting pretty close to the end here. Ovarian cyst, CA125, cancer markers, honey. So I think, I don't remember the CA125 marker thing, but you were 109 and down, then to 50 to 90. I definitely get my body cleaned out, get my lymph system cleaned out, and get those kidneys filtering, get my adrenal glands up, and start cleaning all this stuff out of your body, because I think your CA125s are way too high. It depends what that lab's norms are. Each lab has a different norm ratio. Most of them vary about the same, but depends. So you could send me your lab work if you wanted me to, and I'll look at it. But Paulina, yeah, just go deep, honey, into your body and clean your lymph system out. Your blood pressure's 100 over 60. That's proof right there. Low blood pressure. Check both arms, remember. And you're real low adrenals here. Anything at 100 and below, real low. When you start hitting 90s, most women have had hysterectomies when you start hitting 90s because of the steroid problems. So yeah, really, you want to really get and move your lymph system. Work on your kidneys, your adrenals. Clean the candida, out of the body. Use the antiparasitics like you're doing, smart girl. And you'll be well. You'll be well. But go after detox like you're doing. And I would use the 2 kidney formulas. I would use a lymphatic, say a lymph node 2 that's real strong. It's like some black sab herbs, like bloodroot, poke root, real strong herbs to move lymph. And then maybe a lymphatic 1 capsules, clean up the bowels. And I would probably do the adrenal herbs or the adrenal cytotrophin or glandular will help you there. And this other one, Mike Bobka, get your career, do this. I addressed that earlier on in this video, guy, and do that. And so a lot of stories about acid reflux and type 2, I've addressed those things, but we'll come back. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know there's a few more I probably need to get to, so I'll look through them again. This is going to be a long video. I apologize so much. Forget my ranting and raving, but I apologize there. Rick Campbell, I hope your wife's okay. We're glad to help her. Don't be upset with us. We're doing our best. And thank you very much. Thanks, Drew. I'm ready. Thank you.